What's going on, everybody? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and in today's show, we're going to go over Giants Rookie Minicamp. It went down over the weekend, and I want to highlight some guys, maybe some winners and some losers. Thing is, not a whole lot actually goes down at Rookie Minicamp. It's kind of like orientation. You get to know the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, your position coach, get yourself around the building, get the keys and all that good stuff. A little bit of practice, a lot of film work. The coaches are going to go and try and see which players can really digest a couple of plays. You don't give them the full playbook, obviously, but see which guys could at least fit at the back end of the roster that maybe could make the roster. So we're going to break that down in today's show. But first, Tom Downey of the Dallas Cowboys Report. You guys know him very well, another channel we have here at Chat Sports. We smoked him in a Super Chat battle a couple of weeks ago, and he said we cheat him. We smoked him again during day one of the NFL draft, and he said we cheated. Well, let's beat him for a third time. And this time, we're doing it with subscribers. If you hate the Cowboys and you love the Giants and you're looking for videos every day on Big Blue, go down right now, hit that sub button. Help us beat the Dallas Cowboys Report. So let's start talking about some numbers, because that's really what Rookie Minicamp is all about. The Giants had 73 players in total attend camp. 7 of their drafted players were there, 9 UDFAs, and then 5 players on future deals. Some familiar names here: Ja'Shawn Corbin, Khalil Pimpleton, Mekhi Polk, Leonard Johnson, and Trenton Thompson. And then there were 5 guys on veteran tryouts, which included Bryce Perkins, Iman Marshall, Nigel Warrior, and Daryl Johnson, as well as Jonathan Kongbo. I think I'm saying that right. But also, I do want to say this because I think it's very important. The last 2 years, Ryder Anderson and Jordan Mosley made the 90-man rosters, and they were Rookie Minicamp tryout players. Ryder Anderson eventually earned a spot on the 53-man roster. So you might find someone of these 73 players that weren't drafted or UDFAs that could make this roster. Let's start with a guy, though, that I thought got a lot of praise over the weekend, and that is Eric Gray, the 5th-round selection out of Oklahoma. I thought he just brought a lot of juice to camp overall. When you go and look and read what a lot of people had to say about him, and they said he is all of 5'9.5", almost 5'10", and 210 pounds. There was a couple of pictures that went viral where his quads kind of looked like Saquon Barkley's quads a little bit. They said he was really good in the drills. His feet were really quick, which matched up on tape. Remember, he was a second-team All-Big 12 player last year and then led the Big 12 in yards per carry. And not only do I think he was a winner at minicamp, rookie minicamp, I think he's going to be a winner, make this roster, and be a contributor early on. I mean, go and look at what he did at Oklahoma this past year, really what he did in his entire college career. He was really productive the first 2 years of his career at Tennessee and then closed his career with the Oklahoma Sooners. And this past year, almost 1,400 yards, 6.4 yards per pop on the ground. But he's also a solid receiving threat out of the backfield, 33 receptions, almost 230 yards, and 11 total touchdowns for Gray this past year. But it goes beyond just the casual box score stats. What I like about him is what you see on tape equals results on the field. Yards after contact, he runs really hard. 727 of those this past year. 21 times he had a rush of over 15-plus yards. He's a big play threat, and in the open field, he is elusive, and he makes the first defender miss more often than not, and he had 58 missed tackles forced this past year. Right now, I have him 3rd on the Giants running back depth chart. I already leapfrogged him over Gary Brightwell, as well as the UDFA from last year that I really liked a lot, which was Ja'Shawn Corbin. You got Barkley, Breida, Gray, and those 2 guys we just mentioned. But I do believe that RB2 spot is up for grabs, and I believe Gray is going to challenge Matt Breida this year to really get the second most amount of carries on this roster. So I want to ask this question before we get to more rookie minicamp winners. Who do you think has more rushing yards for Big Blue this season? Is it Matt Breida? He was number 2 last year, unless you want to count Daniel Jones as well. Or will it be Eric Gray? Sound off for me. Type their initials in the comment section. A guy that I didn't know too much about when the Giants selected him was Tre Hawkins, and everything you heard about Hawkins coming out from this weekend was that his size profile and speed profile meets the bill. He's right at 6'2", 190 pounds, 4'4", 40. He set the Old Dominion record for tackles in a season, not this year, but last year. But the size, the speed, and the length is what had all of the beat reporters up in arms about this prospect. Hawkins last year for Old Dominion had 57 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. But he has the prototype and the build of what Wink Martindale wants at a corner. Long, lengthy, physical, and athletic, and especially very, very fast for makeup speed. And when you're 6'2", almost 190 pounds, you're going to have that in your bag. I think he's a backup corner at this point. I believe Dory Jackson and Deontay Banks, who also looked good at camp. I mean, I probably should have said this. Camp Hyatt and John Michael Schmitz looked good. John Michael Schmitz had every snap under center and in shotgun during rookie minicamp. And also Hyatt and Banks were the only 2 players that did not compete in 7-on-7s, which tells you the Giants do not need to see anything else from those guys. But Hawkins, I believe, could compete and be maybe the first outside corner off the bench for this football team. I believe the Giants may have found a stud in him in the 6th round. An actual UDFA that I think has a really good chance to make this roster is Dyontae Johnson, the inside linebacker at Toledo. And one of the things that I love about Dyontae Johnson is he's actually a linebacker. He's not one of those safeties that comes down in the box. He's not a big nickel that comes into the box on passing down situations. He plays linebacker. At 6'2", 235 pounds, the guy had 109 tackles last year. 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumbles. He is a very athletic and strong football player. He's better when he's going north and south compared to when he's having to drop into coverage. He's more of a run stopper, and that's something that I think can help early on in his career when he tries to make this roster. I think he also has special teams capabilities, and I think that's going to go a long way for a guy that's a UDFA trying to crack this 53-man roster. I think maybe a guy like Carter Coughlin or maybe a guy like Cam Brown could be in trouble, as Dyontae Johnson is going to be a cheap, cost-controlled asset going into the future. This is actually someone that is not a rookie, and that is Bryce Perkins, but I do believe he is a rookie minicamp winner despite not actually being a rookie. The Giants, they need depth at the quarterback position. They really only have 2 guys on this roster right now with Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor, and Art Stapleton, he understands that. He said if the New York Giants sign any tryouts from rookie minicamp, I could see Bryce Perkins as a fit for the roster. Looked like Perkins got in a groove throwing the football today, and his skill set reminds me a bit of Tyrod Taylor. Plus, he said Tommy DeVito and Perkins as developmental QBs could work for Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka in this offense. If you don't know much about Perkins, he signed with the Los Angeles Rams as a UDFA back in 2020. He was waived by the team during final roster cuts in 2020 and then signed to the practice squad the next day. He was elevated to the active roster later that year for the team's Week 17 and divisional playoff games against the Cardinals and Packers and reverted to the practice squad in that offseason. In 2021, he signed a future contract with the Rams, was with the Rams this past year, but when he was a free agent, he didn't get anybody that called, and the Giants, they brought him in to give him a tryout, and I think he could fill maybe the backup, third string backup, I should say, or maybe the practice squad QB as your emergency QB. The Giants, they definitely do need to add someone else to this quarterback room. An honorable mention I do also have as a Giants minicamp winner is Gemon Green, the cornerback out of Michigan. A lot of people liked what they saw from him. They thought he fit the size and the build of a modern-day cornerback in the National Football League. And when I went back and watched his tape, he was someone that I thought could maybe be a nickel corner or a special teams player early on in his career. The Giants do have some depth problems, I would say, in the defensive backfield, and can look towards a guy like Gemon Green. Going to have to earn a roster spot, no doubt about it. But I like the physicality that he played with, and I believe Wink Martindale is going to like that as well. We got 3-ish mini camp losers to talk about here in a second, because no one really is a loser. But be a winner and get yourself a Giants throwback jersey today. Go to chatsports.com/Giants throwback. This link is in the comments and description of today's show. They got a whole bunch of players that you can get, the Saquon, the Daniel Jones. They even actually have throwback players. I think I saw an OCU Minora jersey on the site. Go right here, chatsports.com/Giants throwback, or click the link in the comments or description of the video. So the way I went about selecting the minicamp losers were guys that I had as winners, which may push someone on the roster to maybe be on the roster bubble or on the outside looking in. So Gary Brightwell wasn't even at rookie minicamp, but I believe with guys like Eric Gray or the Giants wanting to keep a guy like Jashaun Corbin on this roster, Brightwell may be on the outside looking in. In his career, he hasn't done much from the backfield position. He's been more of a special teams contributor, which can go a long way to making this roster, but you see 5 guys on the depth chart right now with Barkley, Breida, Gray, Brightwell, and Corbin. And I don't know if the Giants are going to keep 5 guys. I think it's going to come down to Brightwell or Corbin for RB4 on the 2023 New York Football Giants. Khalil Pimpleton could be on the outside looking in, also at the wide receiver depth chart position, because I think some of these young guys like Jalin Hyatt or Bryce Ford-Wheaton or some of these other UDFA rookie tryout guys could push him on the outside looking in. And in general, the Giants have so many bodies at the wide receiver position. I mean, just before the show, producer Seeps and I were talking about who could make this roster, and we named 9 guys who probably could do it. And I just don't know if Pimpleton will. I think he adds some juice to his stock by being a kick returner and a punt returner. But man, it's just going to be a numbers game, and it's going to be a crunch at this position. The last loser from Giants rookie minicamp didn't even practice. He's not even on this roster. But it's the NFL offensive lineman. It's all 31 teams' offensive linemen that have to block Dexter Lawrence for the next 5 years because he is back. And the actual biggest news of rookie minicamp was Dexter Lawrence signing that 4-year extension for $90 million with $60 million guaranteed. So Dexter Lawrence is also a winner, but all the centers in the NFL that have to block this guy, oh, my goodness. It's going to be tough for them. Ask Seeps. He saw it well with Garrett Bradbury. Sorry, Seeps. Kind of a low dig right there. It's he's in my ear saying the Vikings center suck. Look, it's hard to block Dexter Lawrence. It is. He's one of the best in the NFL, and that's why he's now the 3rd highest paid defensive tackle in the National Football League. Sexy Dexy, I'm glad you're back, and I know you are too. So spam his jersey number 97, down in the comments section. Get paid, big fella. Get paid. 97 in the comments. Show them some love. We appreciate everybody, as always, for tuning into today's video. A little bit longer of a show, but hey, there was a lot of details and stuff we had to get to you. So we appreciate it. And remember, you can always hit me up over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_, and we can talk ball over there.